Welcome to the Ditch the Struggle podcast. I'm your host, Alana Rosso. I'm a graphic designer turned career and success coach who knew I could do better, but kept falling short of where I wanted to go. But after years of exploring personal and career development, business, money mindset, and energy work, I'm here to tell you that yes, you can move from stuck and defeated to empowered and confident. Ready to dive in? Awesome. Together, let's ditch the struggle. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to give a little update kind of on my health because there's some really good stories in here, some really good findings. And let me be the guinea pig to try all these things, and hopefully then you also can find some ways to manage your health, improve your health, change your health. If you go back to episode 36, I talk about some chronic knee pain, body pain that has really just taken over my whole year. I would say 2024 has been a year of physical pain and also with that transformation. And there has been some amazing things that have happened this year, very unexpected things. And I'm going to dive into all that at the beginning of 2025, kind of looking back. But if you want to hear more about, where I have been with my body pain and chronic pain, go back to episode 36, where I did a very short episode. I was having a meltdown kind of when I recorded it, so I thought perfect time to record a podcast. But today I am feeling a lot better, and it is a slow burn here. It is very slow improvement. It has been something that has not happened overnight, not even close. I have been really diving into trying to figure out this pain and manage it and shift it for at least the last 4 months pretty intensely. So I kind of have to come out of the gate and tell you that there's often not one magic bullet. Sometimes there's one modality or something we take that dramatically changes things. In my case, and I kind of intuitively knew this was going to be the way it was going to happen because I just felt there were so many layers to what was going on in my body. It is a combination of things, and we want it to be one thing. And I have to say, when I'm on Instagram and I see those ads or those people go, just do this one thing every day and you'll completely change your life, I get a little annoyed. Probably get a little bit triggered because it hasn't been just one thing that's totally solving everything for me. And health is such a complex thing. So I've had this kind of chronic knee pain, body pain, my hips have been tight, just like not really mobile. And in actual fact, there have been days where I really felt disabled. Like I was not able to really do much. I have forced myself to do a short 2-kilometer walk every day. You have to keep moving when you're in pain, even though it's completely counterintuitive. I have not missed a day. Even when I was traveling, I've some days done more than 2 kilometers, which is amazing. And I've been doing this since June, and I'm doing a 365-day walking challenge. And, most people would hear that and think, oh, you're going to walk like 5-10 kilometers a day. No. I am just doing a little 2 kilometers, which for my American friends is about 1.25 miles. So it's really not a long distance, but this is also about connecting to nature. So if you go back to episode 36, I really had just started Bowen therapy, and I explain what Bowen therapy is in that episode. It's very similar to osteopathy. So very gentle movements to try and realign the body from not just a physical perspective, but you're trying to get your organs happy. You are trying to get your mind, body, spirit, everything in alignment. And what is so interesting about physical pain, and this is partly why I feel like I have to talk about this with people, is that it's so bad, right? That you think that the physical pain is a result of physical misalignment, physical wear and tear, and all of that. And that is definitely part of it. However, and actually also look at episode 20 where I talked to Sue Ruhe about physical pain and fascia. We have so much trauma and stress and emotions stored in our body that is often the root cause of what is making our body fall out of alignment and go into a state of pain. And I had really attacked my body. Sorry, that's probably not the best word. I'd really come at this from like, okay, I'm going to structurally try and get my body back in alignment because I could feel it. Like I was literally wonky. So I did a lot of chiropractic. I did an osteopath that I'd worked with. I really did try and come at it from like a physical standpoint. Massage therapy, which I still love, although I can't do it when I'm doing Bowen because you're not supposed to mix it with other modalities. And I would get some relief, but not anything that lasted more than like 3 days. And so that was kind of an initial clue that, okay, my body does not want to hold any kind of release. Like it's not letting it go. It's not letting things move the way they're supposed to move. So what is really happening here? And there's so many pieces to this puzzle, and everybody's health journey is a puzzle. And I feel like I'm getting closer. I think you can even hear, like I'm a little bit more optimistic. Jack was saying how much better I'm moving the last week. Today I was able to do like a little standing abs workout, which is 14 minutes. And I was like almost in tears of joy that I could do it. I think this is my third time doing it in the last week. It's nothing too intense, but to be able to stand and do things and not be in extreme pain. There's still some pain, but like I'm telling you, if you can use your body and you are feeling pretty good, just do whatever you can because it is such a gift to be able to move your body the way you want to. So slowly making progress. Again, I had done only two Bowen sessions when I, did that episode on chronic pain. I've now just done my 10th. So last Saturday I did my 10th, and as of Tuesday of this week, I started to feel a really big shift. Now that's 10 sessions. Now, I always say consistency for the win, and with a health issue, this is critical. And I had definitely committed to 10 Bowen sessions. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm only going to do this, although I have incorporated something else, which I'm going to talk about. But I was going to show up for the 10 sessions. And I know that they build on each other. And also chiropractic works this way. So many modalities work this way. We are complex onions. You can't just go to the root cause of your problem on day one. You can't even just go into any therapy session and talk about your most traumatic experience on day one and try and resolve it. You have to get there slowly. And I knew I'd been through so much in the last few years, especially. I mean, my pain and issues, I think, really go back to 2020 where they started to ramp up. And so not surprising that this is when we hit pandemonium in the world and things have been crazy. So there's a lot to unpack there for me. And I have been doing the dive into all the emotions I'm processing, all the things I'm going through, what's happened in my life, both work, career, family, all of that stuff. Anyway, so I had my 10th session and this week feeling better. And I will tell you that almost every week I left Bowen wondering if it was actually doing anything because the changes were so subtle. Now, I'm pretty in tune with my body and notice small things, but she also really helped me each week. She's like, last week you couldn't do this, or you couldn't move your shoulder this way, or this was like really immobile. So it was helpful to have her objectively analyze my body and be like, okay, this is helping, this is moving, this is going in the right direction. But I will tell you, mentally, it's been hard because we want that quick fix. We want to feel better instantly. And there was some sessions where I did feel a shift and some where I can't say I felt huge shifts. But I was really sticking to the plan, the commitment of 10 sessions. I was having faith in this modality. She had so many incredible healing stories, including one woman who, I think she was in her 40s. She couldn't even walk. And her father had to literally like almost carry her into this woman's house. And within 3 sessions, this woman was walking unassisted. So that she's had amazing stories. She has these like results, and some of them are fast and some of them are slow. But like any human, you get frustrated when things are not happening quickly. I wanted to think I'm a pretty patient person. However, I did ask Declan a few weeks ago. I was like, so like on a scale of 1 to 10, how patient am I? Like, what do you think? And he's like, oh, a 2. I was like, what? A 2 out of 10? Wow. And he's like, yeah, and you're getting worse. So that's apparently feedback that I'm not very patient, but who is really these days? And especially just that chronic pain. And you now see the world through this filter of pain, and just everything makes you cranky. You can't be optimistic about things. Like it just has such a ripple effect on your life. You don't want to go out. You want to do anything. Everything becomes exhausting, right? So apparently I'm not patient, but I'm really good at commitment. And consistency. I'd say that's like one thing that I like when I say I'm going to do something, I do it and I keep going. Now, what really kept me going with this practitioner is how much I love her. And when I walk into her office every week, every Saturday, I know that she genuinely wants to help me. It is a place and a space of healing. Now, this is hard to find because how often do you go to your doctor's office and you are rushed in like 6 seconds to get out of there? They're not really listening. They're throwing a prescription at you. It's like, I don't think that's healthcare at all. That's sick care, if anything. So when I go into her space, first of all, I'm there almost 2 hours. We have conversations and then we do the Bowen, which takes quite a long time because it's just a kind of a slow process. Again, you really have to exercise patience. And then we chat at the end and it's just this whole thing. And she really wants to help people and she's so kind and genuine. So just going into a space like that every week, I think is very helpful because someone cares. Someone objectively cares about you and wants to see you better. And the value of that is immense. So I have invested financially in this too. So I always like to be transparent on costs. I think it's 130 a session. So I've put in the money into this. I have committed to doing 2 more sessions because I'm really starting to feel the benefit now. And it just may be that my body needed this much time to start releasing. And she has worked on so many different parts of my body, including a lot of organ work, which is on my kidneys. So you really need to look into how your organs affect like the body and pain and all these things because my adrenals have been tapped out, which I'll talk about in a second because I got confirmation on that. And then your kidneys kind of take up the slack and try and like do what your adrenals are supposed to be doing. And so they get tapped out. And when your kidneys are tapped out, wow, it is throwing off your hormones. It's throwing off your body. Like everything goes so to whack. It's just amazing how your hormones and your organs affect everything in your body and especially physical pain. And so that's why it's important to not just fixate on physical releases and physical help with the body, that you got to look at how you can energetically move and help and support your organs and all the things. And I'm going to talk about cortisol in a second. So making some progress, feeling good about that. And I love the practitioner. And I think that is so key because if you're showing up every week to work with someone who you just either don't really trust or not really sure about or just have hesitancy with, then that's not a place of healing. And you need to potentially think about getting and working with someone else. Now, there's another piece of this puzzle that I've really had some interesting success with. And well, I'm going to backtrack for a second because as I've been going through this process of working with Bowen, try to get myself back to a mobile state, a happy, healthy state, I have been really setting the intention that the right people would come into my life to help me with this issue. And I always set intentions. Like if I'm trying to solve a problem, I will set the intention. And this is really just on a walk, just like, the right people come to me, the right solutions come to me, help me get into alignment with what I need to do to release this pain. So I have been really clear about my intention. I love doing that. And then I'm having coffee with a friend who lives near where my Bowen appointments are. I mean, I have to travel almost an hour to get to these appointments. Then I'm there almost 2 hours and an hour back. Like it's really half my day every Saturday. My friend lives out there. Let's do a coffee. And so I meet her. I don't see her too often. And then she tells me about this clinic, this naturopathic integrative medical clinic that she's been going to that has had a profound effect on her life. And what they do is really extensive blood work and they do a lot of hormone testing. Now, cortisol and we know certain hormones, cortisol, progesterone, testosterone, all of that. I'm going to just really focus on cortisol today because I knew my cortisol has been super high from all my symptoms and just the way I have been just managing stress. And it's been, I've taken on way too much work this year and I'm kind of, to be honest, paying the price for it. Well, anyway, so my friend is telling me about this clinic and she said it's been transformative for her and it kind of got me thinking we tend to like the same kind of practitioners and people. And I said, yeah, give me the information. And she said the clinic just opened in April and they're so busy because people desperately need this kind of help. Now, this is private healthcare, so there is a cost involved, and I'll break down what that is as well. But I knew I had to kind of go. I just had this feeling. And one of the things they do, which I have started doing, and I'll tell you about it, is IV therapy. So for those of you who hate needles, brace yourself because I have some good stories about that. But yeah, I knew I needed to go to this clinic. So I made an appointment, also not close to my house, but made that commitment to go and started off with an extensive blood panel. Like they took 10 vials of blood. It was 3 pages of blood work that I had to get done. And that was not pleasant because I had such a headache after. I felt like I had just been siphoned out of everything, of my life force. Like it wasn't enjoyable. But I was really looking forward to getting such extensive data. And the reason why I like data is because I'm so frustrated that I really can't get much out of my GP. Now, my GP is just for check-ins, basic things, sort of emergency situations. I had asked for, can we test my cortisol? Can we look at what's going on with my hormones? Can we do some, can we do some more testing? And she said, no. She said, no, I'm not testing for hormones. I don't really do that. And it doesn't matter what your hormone test would show. We would treat you the same way. We would treat the symptoms the same way. Well, that had my jaw pretty well on the floor. Like, should I be shocked that this is how they're managing someone's health? We're not going to get any data. We're not going to give you any results. We're just going to give you a prescription for something. Not really shocked. Pretty horrified, to be honest. I don't know how this is healthcare. So I said, okay, at that point, this was a few months ago, I knew I was going to have to go into some kind of private healthcare testing situation, which is what I've done. So I end up at this clinic. I get the blood work done. I was kind of nervous to get the results, but I was excited because when was the last time I had that much blood testing other than just my normal, my Bs and my vitamin D and my iron, which I always struggle with because I have been a vegetarian forever. So get the blood work, which she's like, also there's something called a Dutch test, which my friend had told me about. Anyone can do this, men and women, and it tests 40 different hormones. So this is very extensive, and this is the most complete hormone test you can get right now kind of on the market. Now, this test costs money. It is $600 to do it. So it's a huge investment. And I know that is a lot of money, to be honest. I was so desperate at this moment for results that I really was like, whatever it takes at this point. And then I also had to pay for some of the blood work as well. Some of it was covered and by OHIP and some wasn't. The bottom line was I knew this was going to be a financial investment. And to me, there's nothing more important than your health. But I also understand that that is a good chunk of money, right? So I embark on this hormone test, and I'm not going to go into like all the results of my hormones on here because that just feels weird. But I want to talk about the cortisol piece because basically the results came in and my cortisol is just way too high, sky high. But I'm also battling some burnout. So my adrenals are just not working. They're tapped out, they're tired, they're cranky. So she said it's not a great combination because it's just a little bit harder to treat. So we have come up with a protocol and a customized plan just for me based on my blood results, which were overall pretty good, like solid and healthy, other than a little bit of anemia and some minor things. But I actually was thrilled. Like I felt like I had some good data supporting my life, like my eating habits or my lifestyle choices. Despite the fact that I am kind of not physically feeling great, I do so much to support myself. So all the things I talk about on this podcast, I genuinely do. I do the meditation, I do the walks, I do the quiet time, I do the reading, I do the journaling, I do all that stuff. But still, sometimes we're in a difficult situation. But imagine if I wasn't doing that stuff, it would be like, wow, big hot mess, real big. So what's interesting here is I now have information and data to explain some of what's going on in my body. And then I was also able to share that with my Bowen practitioner who loved this information because it helped her figure out what to work on with my body, which meant really working on those adrenals and those kidneys and getting them a little bit happier and feeling like they're supported, as well as some of the muscular stuff and getting into like the psoas muscle and things like that. So it's been interesting. And one of the things I've also dove into as a result of knowing that my adrenals are basically tapped out is IV therapy, which is what they offer. And I would say it's almost one of their specialties, which means getting hooked up to an IV and getting what I believe they call our nutraceuticals, which is a combination of different vitamins and supplements right into your vein. Now, I did not like the idea of this at all. However, I knew intuitively that I needed it, and I needed something not subtle. Like I was like, get that stuff right into my vein. I need this now. Like I got to kickstart my body. I need to support my body, and I'm going to do this. Was very stressed out before the first one. Now, she recommended 8, and my friend, again, had given me some feedback. She said once she did her 6, she started to feel like a totally different person. Like she started to feel herself, and by the 8th, she felt incredible. So I had a firsthand story of someone who I trusted saying that they had remarkable results doing IV therapy. So I was like, okay, I'm in. Okay, guys, more costs here. So the IVs are $250 each. So if you're doing 8, that is $2,000. The Dutch test was $600, a little bit of blood work, and the actual appointments. I'm looking at a $3,000 investment, basically, to summarize it. Again, I know that's a lot, but here we are, because I'm not going to be able to get any of this care with my regular doctor. And I was kind of hitting a wall with my naturopathic clinic that I usually go to, because they just had not as many resources and they were a little bit more limited in what they could offer. So this is really extensive, and this place has no website, no, like the barest bones of social media, and it's all word of mouth, and it is becoming so busy because people are desperate for help and they need to try something else. And it's not just women going there. Declan is now just had his whole blood panel. He's got that in the progress to see what's going on too. Like it's just such a great way to really see what's happening with your health. Okay, so back to the IVs. I was really nervous for the first one. I didn't really hydrate properly, which I forgot that you're supposed to do. And so I go to the clinic. They can't find a vein. I have very tiny veins. So if you don't like needle stories, just like ditch this part of the podcast. But I have really tiny veins, which I don't know why, because my sister is half my size and has totally normal veins. So the nurse could not find one. It took an hour and a half and at least 10 tries to find a vein. I was there for 3 hours. It was like only supposed to be an hour that you're there. Oh, it was awful. And eventually they had to get a naturopath who knew, I guess, some tricks and tips for getting into small veins. He said my veins were like a mirage, like they'd be there and then they'd collapse and like, bye-bye, they're gone. I was really stressed. I'm sure my anxiety was not helping. I hadn't had enough water. I was worried about like, even once the IV was in, like what would my body do? Would I react well to it, badly? I'm that person that just reacts badly to most things. Like if I take an Advil, I'm exhausted. Like it just knocks me out. Like my body doesn't like a lot of things. So, but I was like, I'm not leaving here until you find a vein. Like she had to keep going. They had to keep going. And they're like, oh, we're going to give you a break. I was like, no, just get it in there. Like find a way. They tried so many different things. Anyway, we finally get it in. And yeah, an hour and a half later, I had so much bruising the next day. Oh gosh, it was just awful. But here's what I said to myself while this was going on. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't enjoyable. This is what I kept saying. Just suck it up, buttercup. You got to suck it up, buttercup. This is something you have to do. People go through way worse. I've seen, family members go through awful medical procedures. So we are just sucking this up. We're sitting here, we're getting this needle in this vein, and we're trying this because we need to feel better, and I deserve to feel better, and I've got to try this. So it's sheer determination and sheer will, like I'm not leaving this place. I've commuted an hour to get here as well. And we got it in, and immediately the IV made me feel like a little bit stoned, like a little bit weird, but then I was fine. And I was just thrilled to get the first one done and over with. And when I got home, like I was really wired, actually. I think there's a lot of bees in it. I was really wired. So Declan now calls these bags of joy because he said I was like so like, which is not a bad thing. Now I've had 4 now, so I'm 4 in total. And I'm really starting to feel a difference. I don't even know how to explain it. You just start to feel like a bit of your life force is coming back. Definitely some more energy. I was sleeping a little bit better, not huge difference yet. I know my friend said that it had a huge impact on her sleep right away. I can't say I'm really feeling that. And actually, the last couple IVs have made me really tired. So I come back and I kind of have to lie down for half an hour because whatever's in them. I think there's some 5-HTP in it, which I've talked about in the episode about supplements. And that can sometimes chill you out. Like this whole thing is designed, the IV is designed to chill you out, but also to kind of give you energy. So we are in IV therapy. We are halfway through the 8 that I'm going through. And then we're going to look at different other things to support me. This is just like phase 1 of my plan. She gave me different supplements. So I have had to add a whole bunch more supplements. It's just temporary to my routine. So I've got the Bowen, I've got new supplements, and I've got IV therapy. This is what I'm doing right now and just doing my walks. Now, the combination of things is working. And so this is the thing. It is the puzzle. It is a combination of things that you need. And it is rarely that magic bullet. So this, I feel, has been a test in really committing to the process. And you hear that so often, especially in the personal development world, the coaching world, you got to trust the process. And at some point, you just want to punch the person in the face. Like, oh my God, I'm trying to trust the process, but nothing's really happening. And really, I didn't have a lot happening for almost 3 months of doing all of the things. But I had to kind of add the layer, I think, of the IV therapy. I think that was really important to help kickstart my adrenals and get them back working. And the other big piece of this is I do have to make lifestyle changes. I do have to reduce my work. And I also need to find, I think, some more joyous things to do, small things to do. And I'm going to talk more about that at some point. But the changes have been significant. I'm feeling better. And I have decided to let go of some work for 2025. I'm already thinking about what's going to be different for the new year. Because it's one thing to take all these supplements and do all these things, and that's great, but you have to support it with a lifestyle that is built on or takes rest into account. I really need a lot of time to recharge, and I haven't had that this year. It's just been go, go, go. Took on a lot of work. It's actually been 3 years back to back. And so it's kind of no surprise that I'm in this position that I'm a little bit burnt out, and it's nothing that can't be fixed. And that was one of the things the new naturopath told me. She's like, this is not a great situation you're in. She said my results were not the worst she's ever seen, but pretty bad, but it's all fixable. And I know that, and I understand that, and I'm not worried at all. It's just going to be that slow burn that I talked about at the top of the episode. It's taking time. And I'm hoping that by sharing this story that you can also, build some patience in whatever process you're going through and have the perseverance to try different practitioners, be open to different modalities and treatments. I didn't really want to have to do an IV therapy. I don't like getting poked every week. Well, it has gotten easier. I found a nurse there at the clinic who just figured out how to do my veins. And it's so weird. I have 2 veins. This is so specific, but 2 veins at the back of my arm below my elbow. So weird, that work. And we now get it on the first try. I say we. She gets it on the first try. She's brilliant. She's so lovely. And I'm only there for 40 minutes. It's done and I'm out the door. So it's become a much simpler process. And the fear is also not there as to what's going to happen or how I'm going to feel. It's still a little bit painful. It's still uncomfortable. I don't love it, but this is what has to be done. This is the time to suck it up, buttercup. This is the time to just keep going forward and to invest in my health and make this a priority. And the results are paying off. So keep looking for the right practitioner, the right modality, talk to people, explore it. You have to be open to everything. And I will say having conversations with other people about what they're trying, what they're doing may not work for you. This, what I'm talking about here may not at all be helpful to you because everyone is so different. However, we need to have conversations about what is working for some of us and, what hasn't worked because you need to try. It's like you just need to keep trying. And eventually you're going to make progress. I get it. It's a time commitment. So much time I've spent on this. It's a money commitment, so much money. But the fact that I'm feeling better is for me full validation and confirmation that perseverance and consistency and an open mind is absolutely key to healing, and that progress can be made no matter how dire the situation is and how shitty you feel at the time. There is always someone out there that can help you. And I really hope that you find people. And I will leave all relevant links of things that I've talked about today in the show notes so that you can maybe make a dent in your own health journey. Take care, guys. Thank you for joining me today on Ditch the Struggle. You showing up here means so much to me. To dig deeper into the topics discussed today and to learn about my work, visit alanarosa.com. And don't forget to download your free resources while you're there. And if this episode resonated with you, please share with others who also want to ditch the struggle. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, leave a rating and a review, and let me know what you'd like to see more of on this podcast. And before I go, I want to leave you with my 3 favorite ways to ditch the struggle. Be your own best advocate, take baby steps for the win, and forget about a linear career path. It's overrated and you are doing just fine. See you next time.